Hello there. Welcome. I'm Brandon Everett. Tonight, I'm going to be doing a reading from my book, The Undoubtedly True Narrative of the YETIMAN, which came out in March. It's a story about a guy named Ross Dyson, who is a conspiracy theorist and who believes Yetis are real. His best friend is a man named Barney, who is also a Christian pastor. And although their ideals and perspectives on the world often clash, it's their friendship, I think, that kind of keeps them going. I want to read from you tonight from a part in the book that is one of my favorite parts. It's actually the very beginning of chapter 13. So you're probably thinking like, wait a minute, why are you reading from the middle of the book? Why not the beginning? Are you going to spoil anything? Don't worry, I'm not going to spoil anything. I think just this passage, though, is one of my favorites. It means a lot to me, and I want to share it with you. So I hope you enjoy. Barney told me a story once about this man from the Bible who saw Jesus do all of these crazy things, like healing the sick, giving sight to the blind, and even raising someone from the dead. This dude hung out with Jesus in like a posse or something, and everywhere Jesus went, he and this posse would go too. Apparently, this guy was one of the chosen few or something, hand-plucked by the big man himself. To be honest, I tended to zone out whenever Barney went on a Jesus rant, so the details might be lacking, but the moral I'm driving at is that in the end, despite having seen all the crazy stuff Jesus did, the dude sold him out for a bag of silver. The guy was in Jesus' inner circle, and he straight up denied seeing everything he had seen Jesus do because he was presented with something more real: money. Barney said that the world thinks this guy merely gave in to temptation, and that his faith wavered when he began to question the things he saw, or perceived to be real at one point in time. The details of the story might be lost on me, but this choice that was made has always stuck with me. The guy literally saw a dead man come back to life, allegedly. And yet, the prospect of silver, the physical representation of a reality that saw Jesus as either a fraud or some sort of magician rather than the epic Son of God, was more tangible than the miracle. He forsook something unbelievable that he witnessed for himself for the safety and security found within that which was already established as real. I would think that anyone presented with larger-than-life situations that begged to question the validity of accepted paradigms would tend to disbelieve the constructs of grounded reality simply because what they experienced was so grand or real in and of itself. But that might be easier said than done. For instance, there's nothing to suggest that beings outside of our specific planet or plane of existence, for that matter, actually exist. And yet people claim to have seen them without any proof of the matter. These people believed what they saw was real. I encountered many of these stories in my various investigative endeavors, and each time it seemed like the grounded, conforming mindset of the day said that what these people experienced was wrong, impossible, or at least extremely unlikely. The impossible practice of confining the supernatural within structured bounds of reality is like trying to hold an elephant with a bubble wand. But just because the task supposedly can't be done doesn't make the elephant or the bubble wand any less real. They still both exist in their real state, just not in relation to one another. The question here isn't on the basis of reality. Reality in its current form cannot definitively account for things like extraterrestrials, folklore creatures, or superhuman abilities. Reality, as we know it, must then be set aside for something more binding. If a bubble wand cannot hold an elephant, then what can? And what exactly are the limits of the bubble wand, if any, outside of the bubble? What makes the existence of alien life, or more applicably, in this case, the existence of Yetis, in a world that resides in a pool of rules and laws that defy their existence, hold any merit? It's not reality, or at least the reality that the world perceives. There needs to be a state of acceptance, or a shift in perspective, to usher in this compatibility for everything to thrive harmoniously. In order for the Yeti, the alien, whatever thing that sits beyond the borders of our shared existence to become acceptable, the world needs to understand that it cannot confine its thinking. Perspective, therefore, can bring about compatibility. I found myself pondering on the man who sold out Jesus because I was suddenly faced with a choice much like he was. I don't mean selling out my friend or anything of that nature, but a quandary between established reality and that which I saw that contradicted said reality. As I stood there in the wide ice tunnel in the depths of Antarctica, I was forced to choose whether I believed that what was comatose on the ground was exactly what I was told it was, or I could believe it was nothing more than a turd in the wind. I could take my silver and go, so to speak. So I hope that little nugget was enjoyable. Stay safe out there. Take care. And thanks for joining me.